Oil has started wars, created billionaires, and helped build empires. But here's something most people don't know. The United States didn't become powerful because it had oil. It became powerful because it learned how to influence the system behind it, a system that stretches from the deserts of the Middle East to a narrow waterway called the Strait of Hormuz. And its story began more than 160 years ago with a discovery that changed the world forever. The day the oil age began. The year was 1859. In the small town of Titusville, Pennsylvania, a former railroad conductor named Edwin Drake was drilling into the ground. Most people thought he was wasting his time. But on August 27th, everything changed. Drake struck oil. For the first time in history, large amounts of oil could be extracted efficiently. Almost overnight, an oil rush began. Thousands of people rushed to Pennsylvania, hoping to become rich. They had no idea they were witnessing the birth of a new age, the oil age, and America was at its center. The man who built an empire. As the oil industry exploded, one man saw an opportunity nobody else could see. His name was John D. Rockefeller. While others focused on drilling oil, Rockefeller focused on controlling everything around it. He built refineries, controlled transportation, negotiated secret deals, bought competitors. Year after year, his company, Standard Oil, grew larger. By the 1880s, Standard Oil controlled most of America's oil refining industry. Rockefeller became the richest man in modern history, and America became the center of the global oil business. But oil was about to become far more important than money. When oil became a weapon, in 1914, World War I erupted across Europe. For centuries, armies had relied on horses. Now they relied on machines, tanks, trucks, battleships, aircraft, and all of them needed oil. Military leaders quickly realized a terrifying truth. Without oil, modern armies could not fight. By World War II, this reality became even clearer. Germany desperately searched for fuel. Japan launched military campaigns partly to secure resources. The Allies, backed by enormous American oil production, enjoyed a huge advantage. Oil was no longer just a commodity. It had become a weapon, and America possessed more of it than almost anyone else. The discovery that changed the Middle East after World War II. America faced a problem. Its economy was growing rapidly. Its military was expanding. Its energy needs were increasing. Then came one of the biggest discoveries in history. Massive oil reserves beneath the deserts of Saudi Arabia. The kingdom possessed unimaginable amounts of oil. In 1945, a historic meeting took place aboard a U.S. warship. President Franklin Roosevelt met Saudi King Abdulaziz. The meeting helped establish a relationship that would shape global politics for decades. America would provide security. Saudi Arabia would help ensure stable oil supplies. The partnership changed the world. The narrow waterway that controls everything. There was one problem. Finding oil was only half the battle. The oil had to reach the world, and most of it traveled through a narrow passage called the Strait of Hormuz, located between the Persian Gulf and the Gulf of Oman. The strait is one of the most important shipping routes on Earth. Huge oil tankers pass through it every day. At some points, the waterway is only a few miles wide. Yet a significant portion of the world's oil exports moves through this narrow corridor. If the route were blocked, global energy markets could be thrown into chaos. Fuel prices could skyrocket. Economies could suffer, and governments around the world would feel the impact. Suddenly, this tiny waterway became one of the most strategically important locations on Earth. Why America stayed? As tensions in the Middle East increased, the United States expanded its military presence in the region. Aircraft carriers, destroyers, naval patrols. The mission was simple: protect shipping routes, keep oil flowing, prevent any hostile power from shutting down the strait. For decades, the US Navy became one of the most powerful forces operating near the Strait of Hormuz, not because America owned the oil, but because the global economy depended on its movement, the secret power of the dollar. Yet America's influence didn't stop at military power, it extended into finance. During the 1970s, most international oil transactions began using US dollars. This created what became known as the petrodollar system. Countries that wanted oil often needed dollars. As global demand for oil increased, demand for dollars increased too. The connection between oil and the US currency strengthened America's position in the global economy. Oil wasn't just fueling cars anymore, it was helping fuel American influence. Who really controls oil today? Many people assume that the country with the most oil controls the market, but reality is more complicated. Oil depends on three things: production, transportation, and finance. Saudi Arabia produces enormous amounts of oil. Other nations produce millions of barrels as well, but transportation routes remain critical, and global oil trading still relies heavily on systems influenced by the United States. America does not own the world's oil, but it has spent more than a century building influence over the system that moves it, the future of energy. Today, the world is changing again. Electric vehicles are growing, renewable energy is expanding, new technologies are emerging. Yet oil remains one of the most important resources on Earth. Every day, millions of barrels continue to move through the Strait of Hormuz, and nations continue to compete for influence over energy. The question is no longer who owns the oil. The question is who controls the system behind it. America did not become powerful because it discovered oil. Many countries discovered oil. America became powerful because it built an entire system around it. From Rockefeller's empire, to World War victories, to Middle Eastern alliances, to the protection of vital shipping routes, the United States positioned itself at the center of the global oil network. And even today, the story of oil remains one of the most important stories in modern history, because whoever influences energy influences the world. More than 160 years ago, a small oil well in Pennsylvania changed history. What began as a search for a valuable resource eventually transformed the global economy. It created fortunes, fueled industrial revolutions, determined the outcomes of wars, and reshaped international politics. Over time, the United States built influence not only through oil production, but through financial systems, strategic alliances, and control of critical trade routes. Today, millions of barrels of oil still move across the world's oceans every single day, many of them passing through the same narrow waterway that has become one of the most important locations on Earth, the Strait of Hormuz. A place that most people will never visit, yet one that continues to influence fuel prices, global trade, and the balance of power between nations. And as the world moves toward new forms of energy, one question remains: will oil continue to shape the future? Or is the age of oil slowly coming to an end? Only time will tell. If you enjoyed this documentary and want more stories about the hidden forces that shaped the modern world, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss a new episode. And let us know in the comments. What resource do you think has shaped human history the most? Oil, gold, or money. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode of Decoded History.